Okay, here we go again. This is one of the games that have already been posted to the YouTube. So you can see my thought process while I was actually playing the game, and then compare it to the analysis of the game. As you already know, if you've watched the other videos, I go through my games backwards, so I can actually analyze the positions that I was looking at during the game, which I had already done. So when we review this, we can actually go forward. Another thing that I thought I'd mention, that if you are interested in competition, the openings that you really need to know the main lines, not only know them but understand them, is the Rue Pez, Sicilian defense, French defense, Caracan defense, and even though I always mess this um, name up, the Gaccho's piano. Interesting word. It's also called the Italian. Yeah, the Italian opening. I can say that a lot better. Okay, let's go through it. And like I said, I've already gone through this. I've identified the areas that really cause a significant change in the game. If you can go through your games and understand those errors that you made that made the game go in a negative direction for you, you should be able to improve your game. And it's very important that if you're trying to improve your game, that you do identify the problems in your game and that you do go and apply basic opening theories, basic middle game theories, and that you practice with your whatever type of tactical practicing you do. I use the computer because they have a ton of tactics. Back in the old days when I used to play, I used 1001 brilliant chess combinations and sacrifices. And that was a very good book. I still like that book. I still have it. It's falling apart now. Okay, let's get started. As you already know, if you looked at my recent postings, I'm trying to improve my play against the Rue Pez. I can play the main line without any problems, but this is one of the popular variations, and it's also the computer's preferred choice. So I have to try to get a better understanding of this. And of course, after I was introduced to it, I went through my opening reference material and found out in essence you need to apply just basic opening uh, principles in response to that move. And what should happen is if you're applying basic opening principles, sooner or later this bishop is going to have to go to c5, and that in essence will be a loss of tempo. Okay, and that's the way to approach it. Let's see if that's actually what I did here. I went for an exchange variation, and having done that, I probably should not have, because this actually makes this, because the exchange actually makes this d6 move a much better move, because now it's actually needed to protect that pawn. I didn't have to exchange off my bishop. I could have went back to a4 and then possibly to b3. And my d4 move, I don't think that's all that brilliant either. And again, if you play weak players, yeah, they'll go ahead and take the pawn, and then you'll push up and you'll win a piece. Well, you got to consider, what if your player isn't weak? And I'm playing against the computer, and I set the computer for 2100, so it's not going to be making weak moves. I mean, this isn't a super bad move or even a bad move at all. But if you're hoping to win the piece, you might choose to do something different. Developing your knight, playing a conservative d3, but the move isn't really that bad. This game is really instructional for beginners. You can see how white is attempting to just normally develop his pieces. And black is developing as well. Now he did make a second move to drop that knight back. I'm thinking he's considering the c5 move, and also considering just playing the bishop to the long diagonal and pushing up to c5. Right now, white has a very slight advantage in that this bishop is kind of stuck and acting as a pawn. But if he can get in c5, if I take, he'll eventually, when the time is right, push up to e4 and have a diagonal for that bishop. He just went b5, and the comment that I have behind there is actually for my e2. I don't know, he dropped his knight back for some unknown reason. I thought it'd be a good idea to drop my knight back. And the comment is, bad move, consider all exchanges. Now, I don't think I considered enough actually taking the pawn. Knight takes, and I said, well, my knight takes, bishop takes. And I thought that would be better for him to have his bishop right there. But if I go a little bit further, the question is, can I push up to f4, have the bishop play back, then push to f5? There's a lot of squares open on my king here. I think that's why I was reluctant to make that exchange. But if I look a little closer, take, knight takes, go ahead and take the development with my bishop. And I can keep pace with development instead of take, 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 take. End up having to push my bishop to possibly d2. So, I mean, it wasn't a significant error, but do consider all the exchanges, not only the first exchange, but the second and third possible exchange, because those are forced moves to some extent. And if you know what your opponent's going to do, you can better respond to it. And whoever is looking deeper into the position will win most of the time. Again, this isn't a terrible move, but I don't think I considered all the possibilities. It's only a 3-minute game, so that is one reason that I may not have considered all the possibilities. But the degree of effort you put into your game, if you put a minimum effort into your game, you're going to get minimum results. And right here, I'm playing for an attack. Now, I probably shouldn't play for an attack. His king does look a little barren, but I'm taking a lot of moves to get over in that position. As I take those moves, he's responding and getting control and space. Just having that rook over there is not going to be enough. So here I said, bad move, trying to force an attack. Do not force an attack. Play a better game. Play a better opening, play a better middle game, play a better end game. And if the attack should show itself as you move through those phases of the game, then yeah, you can take advantage of it. But don't go out of your way to try to force an attack. It works on weak players, but as your competition gets stronger and stronger, those moves aren't going to work anymore. Now he's attacking my rook. And since I already moved the rook there, oh, another principle that I need to write down is just because you made a move, if you find out it's a bad move, take it back. Which I did not do. I said, well, I moved the rook over there to attack. I might as well attack, even though I think I realized that I was overextending myself. I should have just dropped the rook back to e2. Okay, I'm going to leave this here for a minute or two. If I take back with the queen, it's obvious. He takes with his knight. Number one, he gets pawn. Then he attacks my queen and attacks the rook. So I got desperate and just sacked the rook. It's not a really good idea. What I was trying to think was, my knight, my queen, and bishop are pretty close to king. Maybe I can develop again an attack, trying to force an attack instead of allowing it to grow naturally. But his rook is there to defend, his queen is there to defend, and what I did not see was this knight also is there to defend and gets another pawn. And for Black's position, he doesn't just go and try to throw a direct attack on the king. He brings all of his pieces in first, then takes advantage of the opportunity to attack. The bishop is there, the knight is there, the rook is there, the other rook is there. So you have those main pieces in position, and I only have the three pieces. You might consider them out of position. Things are bound to go south, and they do. By taking off that bishop, and of course I saw this, but I also saw there weren't many other opportunities. He forks my queen. Game is over. Okay, I think if you want to see the game actually played out against the computer, I think I listed this as game 7, and I'm going to list this as analysis 7. Okay, what's today? April the 3rd? Needless to say, I'm at home along with a lot of other people, just waiting for the direction to go back to work. I'm in Michigan, by the way. Okay, bye bye.